guys, it's Alex from Metal Master Kingdom here. We're at the Opera House in Toronto. I'm joined by Konrad Kupiec of Diamond Plate, Thrash Titans from Chicago. They're supporting Death Angel tonight. And how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Just played an amazing show in Toronto. Just happy, really happy to be here.
I just want to say welcome back to Toronto.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. Thank you very much.
So, do you want to take us, first things off, do you want to take us back to the formation of the band, forming in Chicago?
Absolutely. The band was formed by myself and Jim when we were literally, 8th grade, just kids starting off. We knew that we'd be going to like the same high school, so we figured that it'd be best to kind of hook up and, with similar music tastes, start playing fast, angry shit.
Yeah.
And pretty much just started playing like Metallica and all the classic stuff that we grew up on, classic rock and heavy metal. And we had the old singer John at that point as well, which was Jim's stepbrother.
Yeah.
And we just developed our sound around Chicago, built up a scene there, and like 2 months after we graduated high school, we got picked up by Earache Records.
All right.
Started touring, and here we are now, the new lineup and everything.
Sounds good. 8th grade, though. Quite a time to start.
Yeah, man, nice and young.
Yeah. So you guys have a new album now called Pulse. Comparing this one to your debut Generation Y, you took your foot off the gas a little bit, but it's still an amazing album because I love the wide variety of influences. How's it been received by the fans?
It's been great, man. I think this album is a lot more emotional for us. It's a lot more personal, and because of that, people are connecting with the band in an entirely different way. You know what I mean? Where Generation Y was very intense and high energy all the way through, and people like to kind of mosh and lose their minds to that. Whereas this one was meant to be a different kind of journey for a listener and have its peaks and valleys and its ups and downs. And I think that's why people are just connecting to it in a way that we're not used to people connecting to our music yet. So that's been really cool. And yeah, some people don't get it. Some people are, not used to it. They kind of expect us to stick to one thing and one thing only. And we've never been about that. We play what we feel, no matter what. And the people that dig it, and we're grateful for that.
People always gotta understand that a band always needs to progress and bring in some new elements. If you just rehash the same album with the same style every time, it gets boring after a little bit.
Unless you're AC/DC, you know what I mean?
There's only a handful of bands that can put out the same album and make it work. Motorhead, AC/DC, Saxon.
Exactly. And we respect all those bands, but that's not us. That's not, we're not the same kids that wrote Generation Y, like the EPs.
Yeah.
We've gone through a lot of stuff, and that's kind of like if music's meant to reflect who you are as a person, then it always has to change. And we're at that point, just being 20, 21, where obviously shit's changing a lot for us. So the music's gonna reflect that.
I noticed the album also had some proggy moments. Who are some of your favorite prog rock and metal bands? Dream Theater, Rush, even when?
Rush. Well, actually, Dream Theater. No, not Dream Theater so much, but Rush is definitely like all across the board, like probably a good favorite band for all of us. King Crimson, another really really huge influence. We got into like Red and Discipline a lot during the making of the album. Those are two bands, and Pink Floyd.
Yep.
And then I know Matt, our new singer, he's the big prog head. This guy will go on and on about his favorite Genesis albums and Yes and all that. So,
right.
But for me, it's mainly the three are Rush, Pink Floyd, and King Crimson.
Nice. On this album, you guys worked with Neil Curran once again, who also produced Generation Y. What's he like to work with? Because I know he produced bands like Judas Priest, Cannibal Corpse, and Nevermore. What's he like to work with? Is he a serious guy, or is he laid back?
He's very laid back, but at the same time serious. Yeah, it's kind of, I guess it'd be difficult to answer that one specifically, but Neil's he's just world class when it comes to knowing how to produce a band, and specifically a young band like us that are like finding our way. And I say this with everyone that answers the question, is like the biggest thing that Neil did for us is he just allowed us to be free, and he allowed us to be ourselves and kind of discover things on our own. There was never any time where, you know, we wanted to try something and he would say, well, that's not the way you do it, you know, try this way. It was just like, go ahead and do it, you know, just kind of trial by fire, try it out. And most of the times it didn't really work out, you know, because we don't really know what we're doing, but it was just the process of learning and discovering all that, whether it was right or wrong, that kind of helped make the band grow and the album kind of progress every day. So, yeah, man, it allowed us to be us.
Cool. As far as the band's writing process, do you guys write on the road, or do you guys write at home, or a little bit of both?
Well, Pulse was the first, like some of the songs, some of the parts, that was like the first time we have written on the road, you know, with the touring cycle and Generation Y being pretty extensive. There were a lot of parts, like the song Walking Backwards, pretty much every part of that song was written in some different area of the world, whether it's somewhere in the United States, or I know some of the parts were written in the UK when we were there.
You played Hammerfest there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Did some dates with Anthrax, so
yeah.
I think that's another reason why Pulse is different is because we were able to write stuff outside of the basement at home. But as far as the actual writing process, it all comes down to just jamming and being in the same room together and kind of catching, you know, some wave of energy or emotion, and just kind of going with that. And yeah, it's just very, very open, kind of play what thou wilt, you know, whatever comes naturally to you, that's what makes it on the record. That's how all the songs are written.
With the recent departure of Mario Cianci,
Yeah.
you guys have been continuing on as a three-piece. Do you guys see yourselves maybe going back to being a four-piece at some point, or just continue with the three-piece?
At this point, the answer would be three-piece all the way. Yeah, we've put in a lot of work as far as filling up space, and I think all of us really, really enjoy the freedom that the power trio format gives us. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of work because you really have nothing to hide behind. And we're inspired by bands like Rush, like we had mentioned before. You know, the band of Gypsies, Cream, ZZ Top, Nirvana, The Police. Yeah, all these trios that are just massive.
Yeah.
So to us, it feels right. So we're gonna stick with it.
Cool. Last time I saw you guys, it was your first time in Toronto, and you were opening for Warbringer.
Yeah.
How would you compare touring with an up-and-coming band like Warbringer, and then touring with veteran bands like Overkill and now Death Angel? Is Death Angel an influence on you guys?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I guess comparing the two, they're both equally fun, man. And they're like the really, really cool part about Death Angel is they're these veterans, they're, you know, these legends, but they're so down to earth and humble that it almost feels like we would be, you know, when we toured with Warbringer, where everyone's just kind of, you know, on the same level, everyone's, you know, in it together. Death Angel brings that vibe to the whole tour, just because they're so open to the whole touring package. So we've just been really, really fortunate that we've been on tour with really great people. So it's a whole traveling family, both the Warbringer tour and now this Death Angel tour. It's one big happy family.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. You guys have toured with several great bands, like I mentioned, Overkill and Warbringer.
Yeah.
Who are some other bands that you would love to tour at some point in the future?
Metallica. Yeah, that's like the cliche. Yeah, of course. Because I mean, that's the top of the food chain. As far as like maybe like a newer band that we've been really into is like Meshuggah. Gojira as well. Just relevant bands that people that enjoy heavy music today would come out and see, and I think Meshuggah and Gojira are the two very, very relevant bands that we would love to get in with and gain some fans through them.
All good bands. All good bands. After this current tour, what's on the horizon as far as touring goes for next year? Anything lined up?
Nothing lined up yet, man. But we plan on touring for a very, very long time. And it's this album means a lot to us, and we want to be able to bring it to as many people as we can, and just tour our asses off and work hard. And we're already writing for the third album, so that's writing is just a continual thing for us.
Yeah, and I know that since Pulse just came out, and you said you guys are writing for your next album, that was actually my next question. Actually.
Yeah, cool.
As far as like what people can expect, you guys already know what you're going for. You may go something similar to Pulse, or it just flows out and we see what happens.
Yeah, that's the best way of putting it. Is just we kind of go with the flow, and again, it's tough to say now because over the next year or two, again, we'll change as people, so the music's obviously going to reflect that. But we jam and we see what happens, man. And we could be in complete, prog land at that point, or we could be in this direction or that direction. We're just super, super open, and it's just for us, it's just kind of like peeling back the stuff that we've done on this album and just getting to the core of what Diamond Plate will be for the future. So it's less, for us, it'll be less about like adding stuff and more just taking away and just getting to the core of what the sound will be for the future. So we'll see.
All right, cool. I think that's all I got for you. One last thing, you want to send a few final words to your fans out there?
Thank you. Seriously, without the people that listen, I don't even like using the word fan, just because we're all people at the end of the day, you guys rule. Anyone that listens to us and anyone that sees us live, thank you for making it all possible. And come check out a live show, feel the energy, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Pleasure. So there you go, Diamond Plate. Check them on tour. Pick up the new album Pulse, out now on Earache Records. I'm Alex from Metal Master Kingdom. You're watching MetalMasterKingdom.com.